Water cannot clean you. That is a biological lie. The truth is, the dirt on your body is locked away beneath a stubborn, microscopic layer of natural sebum. And in the absolute laws of the universe, water and oil are eternal enemies. They will never mix. To shatter this harsh biological boundary, humanity had to resort to one of the most terrifying and insane alchemical processes in history. Look at the luxury, fragrant, and silky smooth bar of soap sitting in your bathroom. Did you know? The primal origin of this absolute cleanliness begins with a violently brutal chemical reaction. It is the catastrophic collision of two unthinkable elements: an immense volume of heavy, raw animal fat, boiled alive with lye, sodium hydroxide, a chemical alkali so highly toxic and terrifyingly corrosive that in its raw form, it can dissolve heavy metals and instantly incinerate human flesh upon contact. And yet, when these two terrifying liquids collide at boiling temperatures, they annihilate each other's toxicity. They mutate. They are entirely reborn, forming a new mass of matter so pure, so safe, and so gentle that it can caress the skin of a newborn child. This is the greatest miracle of chemistry, saponification. From the ancient vats of wood ash and raw animal blubber on the peaks of Mount Sapo, to the towering, multi-million-dollar stainless steel monoliths of the 21st century. How does this metamorphosis actually happen? How do the most primal, rugged raw materials get crushed by multi-ton steel rollers, extruded, and infused with the most expensive essential oils on Earth, to become royal bars of soap worth hundreds of dollars? Today, step with us through the triple-locked security gates of the largest soap megafactory in the world. Welcome to the brutal, yet unapologetically luxurious, art of purification. Step into your bathroom. Pick up that expensive bar of soap, radiating the scent of French roses, and turn the box over. Read the very first ingredient on the label. Do you see the words sodium tallowate? Most people gloss right over it, assuming it is just another harmless, synthesized compound born in a sterile laboratory. But science never lies. Tallow means animal fat, and more specifically, the heavy, dense fat of massive livestock. Did you think luxury soap was born in poetic, endless fields of lavender? No. Look at this spectacle. Thousands of massive water buffaloes, each weighing nearly a ton, carrying primal strength and thick layers of dense lipids, are marching silently down the gleaming, stainless steel corridors of a megafactory. This is not a slaughterhouse. This is the absolute ground zero of the multi-billion-dollar global cosmetics and personal care industry. Since the dawn of civilization, the history of cleanliness has always been inextricably bound to meat and fat. Dating back to 2800 BC, the ancient Babylonians discovered how to boil wood ash with animal fat to create the very first heavy-duty cleansers. The very word soap is born from the myth of Mount Sapo in the Roman Empire, where the melted fat of sacrificial animals mixed with wood ash, washed down the mountain by heavy rain, and tumbled into the river Tiber, creating a magical, foaming clay that stripped away all impurities. The brutal truth of chemistry is this: to obliterate the dirty oil on your skin, we require a significantly more powerful, heavier oil to dissolve it. And there is not a single botanical oil on this planet that possesses the dense, heavy, and rich lipid structure required to generate the thick, luxurious, creamy lather produced by the fat of horned beasts. Today, we shatter the romantic illusions. We will take you deep into the core of the world's most advanced soap-making facility, a place where heavy mechanical engineering and brutal bioalchemy will metamorphose thousands of tons of primal buffalo fat into pure, snow-white, and wildly fragrant bars of royal soap. The journey from beast to luxury begins now. Crossing the threshold of the staging area, you are met with the absolute intervention of machinery. There is no manual labor here. Everything is driven by relentless, ruthless automation. The raw biological material harvested from these beasts enters a closed-loop biological separation system. The factory's singular objective is not the meat, but the highly energetic, dense lipid layers resting beneath the hide. To transform this wild, biological mass into high-end cosmetics, its primal identity must be completely and utterly eradicated. There can be no trace of its origin, no organic odor, no primal color. The colossal volume of fat is pumped directly into the thermal rendering vats, massive pressure cookers forged from titanium alloy. This is the most brutal extraction engine in existence. The internal temperature is supercharged to 150 degrees Celsius under extreme atmospheric pressure. Under this hellish thermal shock, the fatty tissues are violently ruptured. All water content is instantly vaporized. Heavy impurities crash to the bottom of the vat. What surges out from the massive exhaust valves is a waterfall of scalding, pale yellow, highly purified liquid. This is pure tallow, the liquid gold of the industrial soap world, but it still carries the faint ghost of nature. For the global elite to accept this onto their skin, this liquid must be forced through the vacuum bleaching towers. Inside these towering silos, activated carbon and specialized bleaching clay magnetically attract and absorb the very last microscopic molecules of color and odor. The final result? An ocean of liquid fat that is completely transparent, utterly odorless, perfectly colorless, and absolutely sterile. It is now a blank canvas, waiting for the greatest chemical collision on Earth. Now, this ocean of pure, refined tallow is channeled through massive underground pipelines, pouring directly into towering cauldrons that stand 4 stories high. But fat alone will never spontaneously become soap. To mutate, it must be ripped apart by another destroyer, lye. Sodium hydroxide. Why bring such a highly corrosive, dangerous chemical into a beauty factory? Because that is the unyielding law of chemistry. The moment the highly alkaline lye makes contact with the torrent of molten animal fat, an explosive, exothermic reaction is triggered. This is saponification. There are no fires burning beneath these vats. The violent molecular collision itself generates a massive, self-sustaining inferno of heat. The core of the cauldron boils furiously. Industrial turbine agitators spin at a deafening 1,000 revolutions per minute, thrashing the mixture without mercy. Under the crushing pressure of heat and kinetic energy, the triglyceride molecules of the buffalo fat are torn limb from limb, forced to bind permanently with the sodium ions of the lye. After several agonizing hours, a true chemical miracle occurs. Both the toxic, corrosive lye and the raw animal fat die. They annihilate each other, and from their ashes, a completely new state of matter is born: neat soap and natural, hydrating glycerin. This liquid soap surges out of the vats. It is thick, viscous, flawlessly clean, and possesses a breathtaking ivory-white hue. Looking at this gentle, creamy liquid, it is impossible to comprehend that it was born from the fat of colossal beasts and the destructive power of corrosive chemicals. The liquid soap is blasted with sub-zero air, instantly freezing it before it is shredded into millions of delicate soap noodles. But to cross the threshold into true luxury, it must survive the mechanical dungeon known as the French triple mill process. Look at this mechanical titan. Solid steel rollers are pressed against each other with a microscopic gap no wider than a single sheet of paper. As the soap noodles fall, the steel rollers spin in opposite directions, crushing, grinding, and violently shearing the soap with tens of tons of pressure. Every microscopic air bubble is crushed out of existence. Excess water is ruthlessly squeezed away. This brutal action is repeated 3 consecutive times, forcing the soap molecules to bond so tightly that absolutely no empty space remains. What emerges is a dense, glossy, rock-hard ribbon of soap. This is the secret to why luxury soap never turns into mush and water, and why it generates an impossibly rich, creamy lather. The dense soap ribbons are then fed into the massive vacuum amalgamators. Here, the final traces of its wild origin are buried forever beneath the symphony of the elite. Liters of pure damask rose essential oil from Bulgaria, aged sandalwood extract, and natural mineral clays are dumped into the mix. The machine kneads furiously, forcing the aristocratic fragrances deep into every submolecule of the buffalo fat. The cover-up is absolute, but a multi-billion-dollar megafactory will never release a product just because it looks perfect. Before the soap is allowed to be shaped, the entire production line grinds to a sudden halt. A team of biochemists clad in white lab coats, safety goggles, and sterile gloves approaches. Wielding titanium core sampling tubes, they plunge them deep into the massive soap block to extract test samples. Welcome to the QA/QC laboratory, the true gauntlet of science. Here, every batch must face the most extreme, borderline insane tests to prove its absolute safety for human skin. Test number 1. Free alkali titration. Do you remember the lye? The corrosive chemical from part 3? If even a microscopic fraction of a % of unreacted lye remains, it will instantly burn and destroy the user's skin barrier. Scientists place the soap sample into a Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy (FTIR) scanner. A laser reads the molecular structure. Supercomputers run tens of thousands of algorithms to hunt for a mere 0.001% of free alkali. Only when the screen flashes a bright green, zero alkali, does the batch survive the first gate. Test number 2. The Climate Thermal Shock Incubator. A luxury soap might be shipped to the 50 degrees Celsius deserts of Dubai or the -20-degree winters of Moscow. It is strictly forbidden to crack, sweat, or separate. The soap core is thrown into a climate simulation chamber. The temperature is violently jerked from -40 degrees Celsius straight to 60 degrees Celsius, with humidity pumped to a suffocating 95% in under an hour. Through the reinforced glass, the cold-pressed buffalo fat proves its supremacy. The soap remains entirely motionless. Not a single crack. No melting. Its crystalline matrix is practically immortal. Test number 3. Microlather matrix analysis. The difference between cheap soap and luxury lies in the foam. An automated robotic arm simulates the exact friction of human hands, lathering the soap under warm water. The generated foam is vacuumed into a scanning electron microscope, SEM. Scientists do not use the naked eye. They count the exact microscopic diameter of individual bubbles on a monitor. A supreme luxury soap must generate millions of perfectly uniform microbubbles, creating a dense, structural cream that will not collapse even if left exposed to the air for 30 minutes. Only when the batch survives the brutal verdict of the machines and the cold scrutiny of the biochemists does it earn its biological clearance. The head of QA strikes the enter key. The warning lights across the entire factory grid shift from amber to a blazing, operational green. The great machine roars back to life. The scientifically validated soap mass is now sucked directly into the belly of the final mechanical leviathan, the vacuum plotter. Inside this extrusion chamber, a heavy-duty pump vacuums out the very last remaining molecules of oxygen. Why? Because trapped air is the enemy of density. A colossal, rotating screw endlessly churns and drives the heavy matter forward with terrifying pressure, forcing it to squeeze through a superheated steel die. Look closely. From the throat of the machine, a continuous, endless, perfectly smooth, and unbelievably glossy log of solid soap slowly slithers out. It looks as though it has been coated in wax. It moves directly into the crosshairs of the high-speed guillotine. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Damascus steel blades, moving faster than the eye can track, slice the endless log into tens of thousands of perfectly uniform, sharp-edged cubes. The weight of every single bar is policed by laser scanners. Any deviation greater than 0.5 grams is instantly rejected. Finally, they are pushed into the stamping machine. A solid brass mold, deeply engraved with the brand's royal insignia and weighing hundreds of kilograms, slams down onto the soap's surface with 2 tons of crushing force. Slam. The mark of absolute luxury is permanently forged. Not a single fractured edge. Not a single imperfection. The bar of soap is officially born with a unique, aristocratic identity. At the very end of the line, brutal automation yields to human refinement. Final inspectors, wearing white silk gloves, carefully lift each bar under high-intensity LED lights for a final visual sweep. They then wrap them in embossed tissue paper, place them into velvet-lined hard boxes, and seal them with classic hot wax. From a herd of heavy, dark water buffaloes marching into a steel facility. Through high-pressure rendering vats, through a deadly, explosive collision with corrosive chemicals, crushed beneath tens of tons of rolling steel, and tortured by the extreme scientific gauntlets of modern laboratories. That primal mass of fat has completed the most magnificent metamorphosis known to mankind. Now, it sits quietly in the marble bathrooms of multi-million-dollar mansions, held in the hands of the global elite, who lather its silky, creamy foam onto their skin, breathing in the scent of the world's most expensive flowers. Not a single one of them realizes that the ultimate cleanliness, safety, and breathtaking luxury they are experiencing was born from the sheer magnitude of horned beasts and the cold, calculated brutality of machinery. That is the flawless, magnificent illusion of the beauty industry. Thank you for joining us to uncover the secrets inside the world's largest mega-soap factory. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to keep pulling back the curtain on the most incredible hidden supply chains on Earth. For now, step into your bathroom, look closely at your bar of soap, and ask yourself, what am I really bathing with?